Every single mod on this list deserves to be in your game. No filler, no fluff, just 20 mods that fundamentally change how you play Minecraft. You're going to tame dragons straight out of How to Train Your Dragon, fight 26 legendary beasts across every biome, and build living machines out of flesh and bone. There's a horror entity that stalks you for 7 days before it even shows itself, and when it does, it can crash your entire client. And a combat arena that pulls enemies from every other mod you have installed. These are 20 Minecraft mods you need to play. Let's get into it. 7 iconic dragons from the How to Train Your Dragon films show up in Minecraft here, and getting your first takes patience. Wild dragons react aggressively if you try to hand feed them, so the approach is dropping food nearby and letting them pick it up on their own. Each meal builds trust, and once affection crosses a threshold, the dragon enters a brief taming ritual, where crouching with empty hands at the right moment completes the taming. Every species has a distinct role after that. The Gronkle digests a specific combination of dripstone, sandstone, iron ore, and magma blocks to produce Gronkle iron, a special material for higher tier crafting. The Skrill triggers a lightning shield that drastically reduces incoming damage and answers every attacker with a burst of lightning bolts. The Whispering Death burrows underground and erupts beneath a target for area knockback. All dragons grow through 4 stages from Tiny Tooth to full Titan Wing, and shearing scales from a tamed companion opens up several recipes including fireproof scale mail. 5 dragon roost structures generate naturally across different biomes from snowy peaks to wetlands, with chests containing species-specific scales and a chance at a dragon egg. A wandering hooligan trader sells the Book of Dragons guide and roost locator maps if you want a head start finding them. Based on that time I got reincarnated as a slime, Tensura Reincarnated drops you in as a newly reincarnated soul and asks one question right away. Pick your race. You can start as a human, a goblin, a demon, or even a slime, and each option has its own evolution tree leading toward true hero or true demon lord status. Getting there takes work, and the mod gates your progress with real bosses. The Orc Disaster is an early wall with around 700 health, immune to knockback, and fighting alongside his own army. Past him sits Charybdis, a massive flying creature at around 3,000 health, and further still is Hinata Sakaguchi, who teleports, flies, and can unleash disintegration and Holyfield attacks. For magic builds, wizard towers generate across the overworld in several ruined forms, including buried, burnt, and frozen variants, and their chests hold magic tomes for learning aspectual magic, covering fire, necromancy, summoning, and more. Grimoires let you store those spells and cast them more efficiently, letting you chain abilities together in combat. The latest update also added a full dwarf civilization with a working reputation system. Trade well, and you unlock better goods and access to restricted areas. Getting a specific painting in vanilla Minecraft is more of a lottery than a decoration choice. Easel Does It solves that with the Easel, a workstation you can craft from just 4 planks. Open it, drop a painting inside, browse every variant that fits your chosen size from a grid in the GUI, and take out a result locked to whichever one you want. Placing that painting on any wall always gives you exactly what you picked. Sneak right-clicking the easel with a painting also lets you prop one up on it as a decorative display piece, and sneak right-clicking with an empty hand takes it back. The mod adds 5 new paintings by artist Glyphy, ranging from Vintage, a simple 1-block square, up to Monochrome, which stretches 2 blocks wide and 4 blocks tall. There is also a 6th painting called Culture that you can only get through the artist, a new villager profession that claims the easel as its job site. Artists trade in colored blocks and dyes across 5 trade tiers, and at master level, they will sell you the Culture painting for 12 emeralds. Their houses generate in every overworld village type, from plains to desert to taiga, each built in a style that matches the biome. Paintings you place with a set variant will also now drop that exact artwork when broken, rather than a generic item. 26 legendary monsters are scattered across almost every biome in Luminous Beasts. Tree Ents stalk forests, Hermit Kings guard beaches, Yetis roam cold biomes, and in the Nether you'll run into everything from Piglin Executioners to the Soul Furnace, which has over 350 health and ignores both fire and arrows entirely. Every beast drops a trophy and a custom music disc on its first kill, but the real progression starts after that. Once you've killed a beast, subsequent kills have a 40% chance to drop its unique ability item. The Bone Rattle from the Bone Stalker saves your life when you would otherwise die and summons a tamed shadow to fight at your side. The Phoenix Feather keeps your full inventory on death. The Mummy Wraps make you immune to poison and weakness while wearing them. For the phoenix, its nest structures generate naturally in Badlands, and breaking the egg starts the encounter. Kill the adult and it revives as a baby phoenix, so you need to finish off both forms before feathers start dropping on future runs. You can also craft a beast pit from deep slate, gunpowder, and a soul campfire, drop it in any biome, and it lures the local beast to your location. Vanilla strongholds are essentially a maze leading to a portal. Luki Strongholds replaces that with something that actually feels like a fortress. You'll navigate 6 different hallway layouts and find over a dozen distinct room types, including a forge, barracks, jail cells, a crypt, storage rooms, and libraries, all connected by oak and spruce doors. Stone bricks shade into mossy variants throughout, so the whole structure looks genuinely aged rather than freshly placed. The loot reflects where you're heading. Treasure rooms carry phantom membranes, dragon's breath, and enchanted diamond armor with a low chance at the spire armor trim, and corridor chests hand out enchanted iron gear and the eye armor trim. There are also secret rooms tucked into the connector passages, where statues stand in front of locked vaults. In 1.21, those vaults open with 2 new items, and the structure gains trial spawner rooms throughout. On 1.20, both of those features are absent, since trial spawners and vaults are newer mechanics. Demi's Sky Arena puts floating combat platforms in your world, hovering well above the terrain. 2 arenas generate naturally, one above desert biomes and another above snowy ones. Craft either the Crimson Eye or the Eye of Ice to locate the nearest one. Throw it and it flies toward the structure. At the center of each arena sits the Altar of Battle. Right-click it and the sky shifts to night as mobs flood in. The big draw is mod compatibility. If you have other combat mods installed, Sky Arena pulls their enemies directly into the waves. Born in Chaos creatures, mobs from Cataclysm, Iron Spellbooks, and other enemies from over a dozen other mods can all appear. The roster scales through 4 tiers as you keep winning. Common mobs give way to elites, then mini-bosses, and eventually the Warden and the Wither can show up in the arena itself. After each victory, you right-click the altar for a key, which you use on any empty chest to fill it with loot from vanilla dungeon tables. Higher difficulties reward multiple keys per win. At milestone levels, you earn trophies, decorative blocks you right-click to get a buff. They build up from haste at level 1 all the way to strength and luck from the netherite trophy at level 100. Golem Overhaul expands the golem family with 9 new types, each with distinct behavior. At the top is the netherite golem, built from ancient debris and a carved pumpkin, with over 300 health and full immunity to fire damage. You can ride it, and in combat, it periodically summons 5 lit coal golems to fight alongside it. Coal golems are worth knowing on their own. You craft them as throwable items and can launch up to 4 at once, and holding a flint and steel in your offhand when you throw them means they come out already lit. A lit coal golem hits hard and dies in a burst of fire on its first attack. The barrel golem takes a completely different angle. It can't fight anything, but give it an emerald and it barters back random loot ranging from seeds and iron all the way up to name tags, saddles, and totems of undying. The honey golem spawns naturally and houses live bees inside it, releasing the whole swarm as defenders when it takes damage. And the candle golem sits passive until you light it. Use a flint and steel, and it switches to firing flame projectiles at enemies, though each shot costs a small amount of its own health. The Anomaly is a horror mod, adding a new scary entity. 7 in-game days will pass without any sign of it. The Anomaly starts only once that timer expires, and it begins showing up in your world. It takes over a dozen different forms, and none of them take damage from swords, arrows, potions, or most conventional attacks. Some forms stop moving when you look at them and eventually vanish on their own. The more encounters you have, the higher the chance that sleeping will trigger an event, and once it crosses a threshold, going to bed starts causing things to happen. Something knocks on your door, then knocks harder, and if you leave it closed, the door opens on its own. Other times, you just wake up blind for about 10 seconds. There's also a hallucination effect the mod can inflict that renders fake copies of the Anomaly standing in a circle around you, and at a higher intensity, layers the Anomaly's model over every mob and player in the area. The mod also includes a totem item whose tooltip tells you outright that eating it activates death mode and to use it at your own risk. It triggers a sequence of extreme slowness, nausea, and mining fatigue, then a jump scare screen, and it even crashes your client. Starcatcher turns fishing into a hands-on challenge. When a fish bites, a minigame appears where you need to hit sweet spots on screen before the fish escapes, and every species fights differently. Easier fish use simple green markers, while tougher ones throw up aqua spots that vanish if you hesitate, frozen spots to avoid, and gold spots that charge a bonus treasure alongside your catch. There are over 130 fish spread across 5 rarity tiers, from common up to legendary, and each one has its own conditions. Some only appear during rainstorms, others exclusively around midnight, and the rarest ones are far more likely to bite when you're using legendary bait. To actually reach them all, your tackle setup matters. Different hooks, bobbers, and baits attached to your rod at a tackle box, each adding modifiers that change lure time, sweet spot behavior, or which fish are willing to bite. Lush bait draws out fish from lush caves, while legendary bait dramatically improves your odds with the top tier. The long-term goal is filling the Starcatcher's Guide, a fishing log that tracks every catch, your size and weight records, and everything you're still missing. Once you have an amethyst hook or netherite upgrade your rod, lava fishing opens a whole separate roster of netherfish to chase down. For multiplayer, there's a tournament stand for hosting competitive fishing events with configurable prize pools and scoring systems. Exposure Expanded is a companion mod for Exposure that fills in some notable gaps in that photography mod. The 2 new lenses are immediately useful. The telescopic lens, crafted from a spyglass and 2 amethyst shards, extends zoom much further for long-range shots, while the panoramic lens uses the same ingredients arranged differently to capture a much wider field of view. On the film side, there are 4 retro palette options that constrain your photos to the actual color limits of specific old hardware. Game Boy Film gives you 4 shades of green. NES Film works with all 54 colors that console could display. Commodore 64 Film uses its 16-color set, and CGA Film locks you to that 4-color palette. The 16 camera filters are the most interesting part to collect, since each one is tied to a specific structure somewhere in the world. The Sobel filter that outlines everything in your frame is in ancient cities. The Wobble filter that shifts and warps the image is in end cities. The NTSC filter, with its blur and scan lines, turns up in Bastion remnants, and the rest are spread across dungeons, desert temples, nether fortresses, and more. If you also have Exposure Polaroid installed, all of the vanity and high-resolution films get instant camera versions as well. Some new mobs are added with the Myths of the Sea mod, with one of the largest being the Kraken. It grabs you, locks you against its body, and deals damage every second until you hit it enough to force a release. That encounter is waiting in the deep ocean with 100 hearts of health. In cold oceans, the Leviathan has 75 hearts and enough damage to one-shot an unarmored player. Both only ever spawn 1 per area, so they're rare, but finding one unprepared is rough. Warm oceans have something far friendlier. The Hippocampus is a peaceful sea creature you tame with raw fish and then ride through the water as a fully functional ocean mount. The loot from these fights is worth going after. Bake Kujira bones, dropped by the ghost whale that spawns in regular oceans, craft into a full armor set that makes every undead mob in the game completely ignore you. And Leviathan hearts permanently boost your max health by 2 hearts each, up to 10 extra hearts total if you can kill 5 of them. Night Quest Reforged is built around one of the deepest armor set systems you'll find in a Minecraft mod. Over 30 themed sets each carry a unique bonus tied to real conditions you play around. The Bat Helmet gives night vision after dark. The Hollow set returns a quarter of your damage dealt as health. The Warlord set pushes resistance to every player within 15 blocks. And the Enderman set has a 40% chance to teleport you clear of a hit and cancel it entirely. Unlocking these sets runs through an essence loop. Small essences combine into great essences, which fill a great chalice, and that chalice is the gateway to the mod's hardest content. Offering a radiant essence to a filled chalice summons the Netherman, a 3-phase boss who throws fire, freezes players solid, and spawns up to 4 clones of himself. Kill him, and the chaotic essence he always drops can activate the special abilities on 6 unique weapons when offered to another filled chalice. The Paladin Sword gets 5 seconds of invulnerability on demand, and the Uchigatana's active boosts the next attack by 60% and inflicts darkness on the target. New enemies fill out the world too. Gremlins in nether biomes stop attacking if you hand one a gold ingot. Eld Knights in forests and snowy biomes have around 90 health, spawn bomb minions at half HP, and start poisoning anyone nearby. Samhain is a small companion you can tame, outfit with armor, and bring into combat alongside you. Another great fishing expansion is Stardew Fishing, which turns it into a proper skill-based minigame straight out of Stardew Valley. When a fish bites, a small window appears on screen showing a fish icon moving up and down. You hold your button to push a green bar upward and release to let gravity pull it back down, trying to keep it aligned with the fish long enough to fill a catch meter. Staying on target precisely matters, since perfect accuracy can reward you with up to 4 times as much fishing XP. Every fish species has its own movement pattern too, from minnows that dart around almost constantly to tuna that sweep in long, slow arcs. The mod also adds 10 biome-specific legendary fish that can replace any normal bite at a small chance. Things like the Cyclops mahi-mahi in warm oceans, the crystalline snakehead in rivers, and the vampire payara in jungles. Each legendary has its own unpredictable behavior in the minigame, and catching one lets you mount it on a fish display block where it emits sparkle particles. Treasure chests can appear mid-catch at around a 15% chance as well, filled with diamonds, enchanted books, and tridents. 5 bobbers let you adjust how it all plays, from a sonar bobber that reveals which fish is on the line before you reel it in, to a trap bobber that slows the fish's escape if you slip up. Extension Fossil adds 15 fossil structures to the overworld, each tied to specific biomes. Deserts see the most variety, and you'll find fossil snakes winding through the sand, curved fang formations, bone arcs, and trees built entirely from bone. Head to the Badlands and you'll come across the bigger pieces, a T-Rex skeleton and a dragon skull generating on the surface. Underwater, the fossils change with depth. Regular oceans have baby fish skull formations on the seafloor, while deep oceans hold larger bonefish remains, a complete fish skeleton, and a guardian skull. Down in dripstone caves and lush caves, a skeletal hand breaks up through the cave floor. The skull camps are the one structure here that's more threat than ancient ruin. You'll find them in birch forests, savannas, and stony peaks as pillager outposts built around skull formations, and they come in 2 distinct material variants. The mod also layers cleanly on top of other structure packs without generation conflicts, so it works well in mod packs that are already structure heavy. Bountiful Villager is an add-on for the Bountiful mod, and it requires Bountiful to function. What it adds is a receptionist villager and an adventurer's guild structure that generates inside every village automatically. Rather than hunting around the village for the Bountiful board yourself, you walk up to the receptionist and open the Bountiful window. View Commissions opens the bounty board right there, and if you're already holding a completed bounty scroll, a complete commission option appears in green, so you can turn it in on the spot without going anywhere. The Adventurers Guild generates in all 5 vanilla village types, including plains, desert, savanna, snowy, and taiga. And if you're also running towns and towers, it integrates with all of those village styles too. Biomancy is the biopunk mod where every machine is a living organism. Your progression runs through 4 organic stations. The decomposer breaks items down into raw biological materials like flesh bits, bone fragments, and elastic fibers. The digester converts food into concentrated nutrients that power everything else. The BioForge assembles those parts into tools and armor, and the BioLab brews serums you inject directly into yourself or other mobs. The Frenzy Serum cranks up your attack damage and speed, but come off it and you suffer withdrawal weakness until you redose or ride it out with sugary food. Other serums force animals into a breeding frenzy, age mobs forward or backward, or shrink and grow slimes. The heart of the mod is the Primordial Cradle, a living construct you build and keep feeding raw meat and life energy items. What you sacrifice shapes what comes out, whether that's docile flesh blobs that pick up dropped food and gradually grow in size, hostile hungry flesh blobs that go after players and animals, or primordial variants that spread malignant flesh across the ground when killed. Keep feeding it and the cradle slowly grows a flesh mound outward through the area over time. For combat, the Ravenous Claws build up blood charges as you kill mobs, which you spend to activate an awakened mode with a meaningful jump in damage and reach. Underground, you'll find abandoned labs that hold maps to deeper structures, including a vault stocked with bioalchemist armor and the mod's unique enchanted books. Trotting Wagons adds 3 horse-drawn wagons to Minecraft, each built for a different job. The Conestoga is the freighter, with over 100 inventory slots under a wool canopy and 6 seats. The Royal is the fastest of the 3, trades most of that storage for a wooden cabin look, and seats 4. And the Armored Wagon has no storage, around 120 health and 7 passenger spots, built for taking hits on the road. Getting any of them moving requires 2 horses. Leash one, crouch interact with the wagon to hitch it to one side, then repeat for the other. With both horses attached and a player in the driver's seat, The horsewhip cycles through 3 speed levels. Where this mod goes beyond a simple cart is mob transport. Leash almost any mob, like a cow, villager, or even a skeleton, and crouch by the wagon to load them as a passenger, which makes moving herds or relocating mobs much more practical than herding on foot. All 3 wagon types come in every dye color. They can be repaired with iron ingots, and can be picked back up as an item when you're done. Swamp biomes get their own village type with Ribbits, populated by tiny frog villagers who each have a profession and a daily routine. Every village has dedicated buildings for each profession, including fishing houses, sorcerer homes, and a larger merchant building. Amethyst shards are the local currency here, not emeralds, so start collecting them early. Merchants sell mod-exclusive blocks like toadstool pieces, swamp lanterns, and maracas, while fishermen can trade fish items and enchanted fishing rods. Gardeners water nearby crops automatically during the day, and if a sorcerer ribbit spots you nearby, it will cast a random positive buff on you. The music system is the most memorable part. Nitwit ribbits form bands on the spot, each one grabbing a different instrument like bass, bongos, or guitar. You can join in with a maraca bought from the merchant for around 6 to 8 amethyst shards, and hold it out to play alongside the group. At night, all ribbits return home, and using an amethyst shard on any ribbit resets their home point to wherever they are currently standing. Astrological completely rebuilds the end from the ground up, adding 2 extra layers of end islands below the main ring, and when you enter the end portal, you spawn in the outer islands rather than at the center, so reaching the Dragon's Arena becomes a journey rather than a given. The biomes all look distinct now, with end highlands swapping their plain endstone surfaces for purple purpurite, while the barrens and midlands grow clusters of glowing selenite crystals in ochre, verdant, and pearlescent varieties that each give you a different movement effect when you step on them. Jade formations push up in blocky columns across every layer. The mechanic that stands out is the anti-eclipse, where periodically during the end's day cycle, players standing in the open with no blocks overhead get hit with levitation and pulled skyward while the ambient light surges. The whole sky has been reworked with a custom end sun and a ringed planet that drifts through phases overhead, so the dimension feels different just to look at. Down in the deep void below the main islands, hollow asteroid clusters float through the dark and contain deep slate ores worth cracking open. The tendrils and tumor growths scattered across island surfaces inflict a spreading infected status when you touch them, which randomly teleports you and slowly converts nearby endstone into more infected blocks. Companions packs in over a dozen tameable creatures, and what sets it apart is how mechanically distinct each one is. The wild antlion is a good place to start. Approach one from behind and use crystallized blood to tame it, and you end up with a companion that transforms through 4 different forms at each dawn. It begins as a burrowing attacker that digs underground and sends nearby blocks flying during combat, grows into a bulkier tank phase with over 100 health, then into a flying adult you can mount and ride, and finally a soldier variant that fires sand projectiles from range. You can skip ahead with an hourglass or lock the form you want using netherite chains. The croissant dragon works very differently. Craft big bread, run it through the soul furnace to produce an egg, and tame the hatchling with 3 buckets of milk. Once it's yours, you can fit it with one of 3 armor types. Each flavor gives you a different buff when you eat a chunk of the dragon, so the armor you choose depends on what your build needs. Pushing deeper into the mod eventually brings you to the Sacred Pontiff, a 2-phase boss with over 200 health in its first form, and there's plenty of other mobs, structures, and mechanics to explore. That concludes this list. You can find all these mods in the description, with filters for versions, mod loaders, and more. And I'll be back soon with another episode, so subscribe to be notified when a new video releases.